The night held its breath in the quiet blocks. A deceptive stillness shattered without warning. A searing white flash tore across the inky canvas of the sky. A fleeting star with a dangerous trajectory. It plunged towards one of the city's hidden gateways, culminating in a violent eruption that echoed the chaos in one man's soul. At the epicenter of the blast, a figure slumped against the cold stone, the fence and asphalt beneath him stained crimson. Blood, sweat, and more blood. A grim testament to a desperate struggle. Caden. Even the name felt heavy with the weight of his exhaustion. He pushed himself up, a ragged breath escaping his lips, the thought searing, could I really look this pathetic? This wouldn't have happened, not if they hadn't swarmed him, a relentless tide of malice. He looked down the deserted street, a harsh cough rattling in his chest. Now, survival hinged on one thing. Vanishing? He needed to become a ghost, to mend his broken body before they inevitably tracked him down. Running was a temporary reprieve, a slow march towards capture if he didn't find sanctuary. An idea sparked, a fragile hope in the darkness. If he could just find a place to disappear, his chances, however slim, would multiply. Then, a soft rustle broke the silence. From the shadows of discarded cardboard boxes, a cat emerged. Its eyes, weary and knowing, met his. And in that simple creature, Caden saw a possibility. A desperate, unlikely camouflage. He moved towards the animal, its indifference a strange comfort. Just as he reached it, the alleyway blazed with another blinding flash, followed by an immediate swallowing darkness. The city outside fell silent once more. The sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in hues of gold and rose. Inside a small store, the counter overflowed with colorful bags of cat food. A young man with sun-kissed hair gazed at the display, a soft smile playing on his lips. His eyes danced across the variety, a silent debate unfolding in his mind. Sales whispered promises, but his own cat's delicate diets held him back. Yet, these were their absolute favorites. He lingered on the bags that had been out of stock, now proudly replenished. Then, new flavors caught his attention, sparking a fresh wave of consideration. He fidgeted, a familiar dilemma, the finicky palates of his beloved companions. He should probably wait, just in case. But then he saw the last day sticker on a few enticing varieties. Well, he thought, since I'm here. A few bags turned into a small pile. The store owner beamed. Then, a toy with glowing reviews snagged his attention. He tapped his lip, a playful internal struggle. He wanted it all, but responsibility tugged at his wallet. In the end, a familiar impulse won. If he was going to treat them, he'd do it right. His arms soon overflowed with goodies. Stepping onto the crosswalk, the weight of the bag shifted in his hands. He chuckled softly, a touch of self-deprecation in his murmur. He'd come for something for himself, but as always, his furry companions had taken precedence. A satisfied smile bloomed as he tucked the bag into his backpack. They're going to love this. Everything felt right. The ordinary rhythm of the street returned. A mother chatted on her phone, her young son darting around her legs, oblivious to the world beyond his playful orbit. Then, in a heartbeat, everything changed. The boy, chasing a runaway ball, stumbled into the road without looking. A car roared down the street, an unstoppable force. The young man's blood ran cold. No time. The car wouldn't stop. The headlights illuminated the child's small, terrified figure, frozen in the path of danger. Instinct took over. He moved without conscious thought, a lightning-fast surge of adrenaline. Everything around him seemed to slow, the world compressing into the single, terrifying image of the boy in harm's way. He lunged, grabbing the child, yanking him back from the brink. Tires screeched, leaving dark scars on the asphalt. A collective gasp hung in the air. Safe. They were on the sidewalk, the danger averted by a hair's breadth. The young boy looked up, his eyes wide with confusion, unable to comprehend the near tragedy. The young man knelt, his arm around the child's small shoulders, a silent check for injuries. "Hey, buddy," he said, his voice a little shaky. "You scared me." He listened to the murmurs of the crowd, surprised whispers, questions hanging in the air. Then he stood. "I gotta go," he said, a quick, invented explanation. "Older brother duties, you know." His mother rushed to the boy, her voice a blend of relief and panic. Are you hurt? Who, who helped you? The child pointed a small finger at the space where the young man had just stood. But he was already gone, melting back into the anonymity of the crowd. Intuition, he thought. A dawning awareness. He'd reacted before his mind could even register the danger. Now, the weight of what he'd done settled upon him. Careful, a silent warning echoed within. Someone might have seen. Back in the familiar quiet of his block, lights glowed warmly in the windows. The young man descended the steps, 2 food bowls in his hands. "Hey guys, sorry I'm late," he called out, his voice soft. "Had some school stuff." He sat down, placing the bowls before 3 expectant felines. "You 3 are always together," he mused aloud. "Family, or just the best of friends?" A chorus of insistent meows greeted him, but there was an unusual urgency in their tone. "What's wrong?" he asked, a knot of worry tightening in his stomach. "Why aren't you eating?" Confusion clouded his features. He'd spent his last bit of allowance on this food. The black and white cat nudged his leg, a silent invitation. He stood, following their unusual lead. "You guys are acting kinda strange today," he murmured. "Where are we going?" Then it clicked. They wanted him to follow. They led him through a dark gateway. The black and white cat disappeared around a corner. He peered cautiously from behind a wall. "Did we arrive?" he whispered, a growing sense of unease prickling his skin. And then he saw him, a ginger cat lying still on the cold ground, a dark stain blooming beneath him. Warm light spilled from a nearby window, blurring his vision. He focused, the familiar lamps of his own living room swimming into view. Caden, he was here. But how? Fragments of memory flickered, the blinding flash, the touch of fur. He tried to move, a strange disconnect. He lifted a paw, then another. His ears twitched. A heavy exhale escaped a body that wasn't his own. He was a cat. Caden's mind reeled, piecing together the impossible. The alleyway, the indifferent cat, his outstretched hand, the blinding flash. Waves of power. "I did it," a stunned thought echoed. "I actually did it." A voice broke through his bewildered thoughts. "Hey, you're awake." The young man from the store stood in the doorway, his face etched with relief. "When I found you, you were unconscious, covered in blood. I almost thought—" "Everything seems fine now," the boy chirped happily. "Fine," Caden thought, a surge of frustrated energy building within his feline form. What a simpleton. This kid had brought him here, into his home, while he was out cold. The boy suddenly darted out of the room. Strange sounds drifted from another part of the house. He returned with 2 bowls of food. "Sorry for the wait." Caden eyed the bowls with distaste. The boy began to chatter, oblivious to the turmoil within the ginger cat. "You had so many wounds. All that blood. I thought it was serious blood loss, open wounds, but then I realized you were just covered in it." This guy never stops talking, Caden thought, irritation growing with each word. The boy placed a bowl of milk on the floor, then squatted with a satisfied smile. "You must be starving. Eat up. You'll feel better in no time." Caden stared at the milk, a silent protest. The boy clicked open a can, the pungent smell assaulting Caden's senses. "Here you go. This will get your strength back." Caden glared at the bowls. "Cat food? This fool dares to offer me?" The boy's cheerful face beamed. "Come on, it's really tasty." Then a betraying rumble echoed from Caden's stomach. He sighed, a heavy feline sound. "Looks like I don't have a choice." This human thought he was just a stray, and Caden needed to regain his strength, no matter how unappetizing the offering. He reluctantly lapped at the milk. Suddenly, he was lifted. The boy's hands cradled him, turning him over. "Let's see if you're a boy or a girl." "What are you doing?" Caden's mind screamed, a silent, furious roar. "How dare you?" The boy froze, his brow furrowing. He looked around the room. Had he just heard something? A rough male voice? He must have left the TV on in the other room. Caden, his feline face contorted in silent fury, repeated his command. "Let me go. Now! Or I swear I will shred your ears." A wave of pure horror washed over the boy. He dropped the cat as if burned, scrambling backward. Talking? The cat was talking. He shook, fear gripping him in icy tendrils, a sharp click of a tongue. Quiet! Caden's voice, now undeniably present, though still tinged with a feline rasp, cut through the silence. You're too loud. Caden took a step closer to the trembling figure. What's your name? The boy just stared, his eyes wide with disbelief. I asked, Caden repeated, his voice low and dangerous. Your name. The boy continued to shake, his mind struggling to grasp the impossible reality unfolding before him. Caden's control snapped, claws extended, sharp and sudden. Did you want me to repeat myself? He hissed, the feline rasp adding an unsettling edge to his fury. The boy, wide-eyed, stammered. No, Mr. Cat. Caden, the cat corrected sharply. Then, with an air of command utterly incongruous with his current form, bring that chair here. He watched as the boy hesitated, a flicker of disbelief in his eyes. Caden's claws flexed again. I won't repeat myself. J.W. scrambled into action, fetching the chair with surprising speed. He placed it near the cat, then sat down on the floor opposite him, his gaze fixed on the ginger creature with a mixture of apprehension and curiosity. Caden, with a grunt of effort, clumsily hauled himself onto the chair. He exhaled heavily. Strange, he thought. It shouldn't be this difficult. He shifted, trying to find a comfortable position. It's this ridiculous body, he concluded. The cat settled onto the chair in a surprisingly human-like posture, a sight that momentarily touched the boy with a strange sense of familiarity. The moment passed. Caden's claws flashed out again. If you breathe a word of this to anyone, he growled, his voice low and menacing, I will kill you. He instinctively hooked the boy's shirt, as if to emphasize his threat, but his attention was suddenly caught by something else. He released the fabric abruptly, his gaze fixed on the mirror across the room. A disgruntled, plump ginger cat stared back. Good heavens, Caden thought with dismay. I'm fat. He scrutinized his reflection, a paw tentatively touching his cheek. A double chin? Seriously? His gaze dropped lower, and he grabbed a roll of fur on his stomach. His pupils narrowed in horror. I've become a fat cat. The cat slumped onto the chair, a picture of utter dejection. A tremor ran through him, a physical manifestation of his inner turmoil. Caden, this is what I've become. A frustrated cry escaped his feline throat. J.W. recoiled in fear. He rushed to the seemingly lifeless cat, shaking him gently. No, don't die. Inside the furry head, Caden's thoughts were a whirlwind of self-loathing. Who would have thought, incarnated into this unattractive blob? J.W. picked up the limp cat, his voice filled with panic. Mr. Cat, what happened? You just screamed and fainted. Caden's inner voice was laced with despair. Not even the strength to shift again. Am I stuck like this until this thing recovers? J.W. continued to shake him, his pleas growing more frantic. Finally, a weak voice tinged with annoyance emerged. Stop it. J.W. cradled the cat in his arms, a wave of relief washing over him. You're okay! The cat, now conscious, bristled. I did not faint, he snapped, his voice surprisingly clear. Let me go. The boy carefully placed the cat back on the floor. I was just scared when you went still. I'm glad you're all right. Caden turned away, his tail twitching with irritation. Why on earth would you be scared of fainting? W simply smiled, a gentle, unwavering expression. Caden stared at him, a heavy sigh escaping his feline lips. This is a strange child. He turned back to the mirror, his dissatisfaction palpable. A fat cat. Why? Why me? J.W. raised his hand hesitantly, like a student in class. Mr. Caden, he ventured. If you're a human, why do you talk like a cat? Caden exhaled heavily. I talk because I am a human, he stated, as if it were the most obvious thing in the world. The boy's surprised repetition of the phrase only deepened his exasperation. The cat turned to him. Look, he said, his voice firm. I may look like this now, but I'm a human, just like you. Temporarily, in cat form. J.W.'s eyes widened. So, you're a human turned into a cat? Caden confirmed it with a curt nod. The details, he added dismissively, are far too complicated for you to understand. JW sat there, a picture of utter confusion. How is that even possible? A person becoming a cat? Caden lay down on the floor with a sigh. The answer to your first question, he said wearily, should be obvious just by looking at me. And the second? I simply thought it was possible. And when I tried, it worked. I still don't understand any of this, JW admitted. You don't need to, Caden retorted. But why did you turn into a cat? And why were you unconscious and covered in blood? JW persisted. None of your business, Caden snapped. They stared at each other in silence. The cat snorted. Look, he said finally, we met under unusual circumstances, but don't go digging for more than you need to know. You don't need to know anything at all. JW scratched the back of his head. Okay, he agreed slowly. An awkward silence descended upon the room. Suddenly, Caden's stomach rumbled loudly. JW immediately offered him the bowl of cat food. Here, Mr. Cat. Caden, you should eat. You were out for a while, and you were hurt. Caden glared at him. I am temporarily a cat, he emphasized. Yet, the boy still pushed the bowl closer. JW shrugged. Maybe you're a human, but right now, you're in a cat's body. Human food isn't good for cats. And you're injured. You'll only get worse. JW headed for the door. Eat up, he said again. I'm going to feed the other cats outside. It's probably chaos out there. They must be starving. Caden eyed the bowl. He has a point, he conceded internally. He'd heard that human food was bad for cats, and right now, he was a cat. He should probably try to eat like one, to regain his strength. He cautiously approached the bowl, sniffing the strange-smelling food. Never thought I'd see the day, he mused. But strength first. He took a tentative bite. His eyes widened. This is actually good? He began to eat, slowly at first, then with increasing fervor. He couldn't seem to stop. Finally, he pushed himself away from the bowl, utterly stuffed. Good heavens, he thought with disgust. Caden, gorging himself on cat food. Then he mentally corrected himself. It's not me. It's this insatiable creature. His stomach rumbled again. Caden looked down at his plump body with distaste. This is awful, and I have no strength. If those thugs found him now, he wouldn't even be able to defend himself. Staying like this until I recover seems like the only option. Deep night settled over the city. JW entered the room. I need to go out for a bit, he said. Where are you going? Caden asked, suspicion lacing his tone. To the vet clinic, JW replied. I'm out of cat food for tomorrow. I bought a lot of treats, but no actual food. At this hour? Caden asked doubtfully. JW beamed. He sat down next to the cat. Want to come with me? Caden glared. Why on earth would I want to go with you? JW's expression softened. Please don't be upset, he said gently. What if you told someone about you? I'm worried. Caden scoffed internally. Trying to make me think I'm the untrustworthy one. He turned away. Letting you go alone is risky. I should keep an eye on you. JW's face lit up. He carefully picked up the cat, tucking him under his jacket. Okay. Caden, jostled and indignant, protested. What are you doing? Let me go. Do you really think I'm going outside like this? The street lamp cast a soft glow. JW carried Caden close, the cat's rhythmic purring a strange counterpoint to his inner turmoil. Caden's eyes widened slightly. An annoying yet comforting warmth was spreading through him. No, he reminded himself firmly. I'm not a cat. This is just tiredness from the transformation. He closed his eyes, trying to ignore the unsettling sense of peace. They arrived at L Pet Hospital. An elderly doctor greeted JW. What brings you here so late? JW explained he needed cat food and wanted the doctor to check his cat, as he seemed injured. Caden, overhearing, shot the boy a look of pure annoyance, lied to him. The doctor, oblivious to the silent drama, asked JW to place the cat on the examination table. He typed into his computer. Have you brought this cat in before? What's his name? Caden, JW replied. The doctor looked at the plump ginger cat with interest. Caden, huh? A rather substantial name for a substantial cat. I will end him, Caden thought icily. The doctor gently examined Caden, turning his head, even checking under his tail. Then came the teeth. "This is utterly humiliating," Caden fumed. Finally, the doctor straightened up. "I don't see any significant problems." JW pointed at the table. "But there was so much blood when I found him." The doctor shrugged. "No fresh wounds. A few scratches, but nothing a little antiseptic won't fix. Nothing I can do here." JW sighed in relief, ignoring Caden's furious glare. Still worrying about me, the fool, Caden thought. The doctor looked at Caden with a touch of concern. He could stand to lose a little weight. "I will kill him again," Caden vowed silently. The doctor's voice echoed in the quiet hospital. "Just take care of him. Come back if any other symptoms appear." A quiet relief settled over them as JW and Caden made their way back. The cat nestled securely within the boy's jacket. But the peace was short-lived. A subtle shift in the air, a barely perceptible sound behind them, snagged Caden's attention. He stirred, a low murmur escaping his lips. "More monster cats?" Caden muttered, a note of bewildered surprise in his voice, still muffled by the fabric of JW's jacket. JW looked down at the cat, his brow furrowed in confusion. "What are you talking about?" Just then, he heard it too, a low, guttural sound echoing from around the corner. And then, two piercing scarlet eyes flashed in the darkness of the alleyway. A white cat, its black stripes stark against its pale fur, slowly emerged into the dim light. Fear tightened its icy grip on JW's chest. Was this the monster Caden had sensed? He stared at the creature, a viscous drool dripping from its fangs. "It looks more like a tiger than a cat," he whispered, a tremor in his voice. "Maybe it just seems that way because Caden's a cat now. But this one, it feels different. The size, the presence." Before they could formulate a plan, a deafening roar ripped through the night air, a sound that spoke of pure predatory power. "Run!" JW yelled, his instincts taking over. He spun around, bolting in the opposite direction. As JW sprinted, Caden, jostled within his jacket prison, called out, "Think fast, kid! It thought you'd just freeze. At this speed, it'll be on us in seconds." The monstrous feline was indeed gaining on them with terrifying speed, its massive leaps eating up the distance. It lunged, claws extended like deadly rakes. JW dodged the attack by a hair's breadth, stumbling backward into a stack of overflowing trash cans. He landed hard, his back absorbing the impact, a shield protecting the fragile form of Caden within his jacket. They stared up at the snarling beast. "You okay?" Caden asked, his voice tight with worry. "Just tore my clothes," JW gasped. "What do we do? We need a weapon." Then, a flicker of memory. JW reached into his pocket, pulling out a small, innocuous stick. With a flick of his wrist, it extended, growing longer and longer. He held it out defensively. "Stay back!" he commanded the monstrous cat. Caden stared in disbelief at the end of the stick, a teaser toy, a fluffy miniature monster dangling precariously. It swung back and forth, and both cats froze, their predatory instincts momentarily suspended. Is he insane? Caden thought. Fighting back with this? Is this divine weapon all we have? The furry toy danced to the right, then to the left, its simple movement strangely hypnotic. The monster cat, however, was not so easily distracted. It roared again, launching another ferocious attack. JW thrust the toy forward. The sudden movement caused it to flail wildly. He squeezed his eyes shut, bracing for impact. But it never came. He opened his eyes to see the monster cat airborne, leaping for the toy. "This is our chance!" JW exclaimed, turning to Caden. But Caden wasn't looking at him. His own feline instincts had taken over. He too was scrambling, not away from the monster, but towards the wildly swinging toy.